patient arrives at a hospital in Kuala Lumpur in critical condition. Within minutes, they are triaged, stabilized, and rushed through emergency surgery. When that patient wakes up recovering in a ward, the natural assumption is that the brilliant surgeon in the operating room acted completely alone to save their life. That assumption stems from an old way of thinking. For decades, the classical management era, championed by figures like Frederick Taylor, viewed organizations as rigid machines. In this view, a business was just a collection of isolated, independent parts, and the goal was simply to make each gear turn as efficiently as possible. But look closer at that hospital scenario. The surgeon only knew what to do because a lab technician rapidly processed a blood test, and that test only happened because a receptionist accurately logged the patient's file the second they walked through the door. The systems approach treats the organization as a highly connected, living organism. You cannot understand how a hospital, a tech company, or a university succeeds by putting its individual employees under a microscope. You have to observe how the entire network interacts. To see how an organization breathes and metabolizes, we can step inside a bustling fast food restaurant in Malaysia. Every system needs fuel. We call these inputs. For the restaurant, inputs are the raw ingredients arriving at the loading dock, the physical energy of the staff, and the specific orders placed by the customers. Those materials don't assemble themselves. They move into the processes, or the throughput. This is the active transformation where the kitchen staff takes those inputs, fries the chicken, and assembles the burgers. Finally, we have the outputs. These are the final results that leave the system and re-enter the environment. In our example, the output is the hot meal delivered to the table and the financial profit generated for the business. The survival of the entire restaurant depends entirely on this continuous, unbroken flow of resources from start to finish. But systems are rarely perfectly smooth, linear pipelines. Let's look at a corporate tech office in Penang to see what happens when we apply stress to a complex environment. Organizations rely on interdependence. This means every single department or subsystem relies heavily on the others to function at all. Imagine a minor failure at the beginning of the chain. The marketing team falls behind schedule and misses the deadline to send out a critical promotional email. The ripple effect is immediate. Because that email didn't go out, the sales team lacks the updated pitch materials they need to close deals with their waiting clients. As the sales team stalls, the macro consequence hits the entire company. The overall system misses its quarterly revenue output. The departments are so tightly interwoven that a single, seemingly isolated disruption in marketing triggers a domino effect that can collapse the financial health of the whole system. So, if an organization is that fragile, how does an interdependent system survive a chaotic, unpredictable environment without shattering from a single mistake? It uses feedback. Feedback loops act as the organization's nervous system, allowing it to listen to its environment and correct its behavior in real time. If a customer complains that their food is too salty, that is negative or deviation-reducing feedback. The kitchen uses that signal to fix the recipe and restore balance. This organizational diagram models that exact behavior, showing how system feedback, like performance reports, cycles directly back to correct the system's goal. Conversely, if a viral online promotion causes a massive spike in orders, that acts as positive or deviation-amplifying feedback. The growth signal forces the system mechanisms into action, adding new processes like telemarketing or extra staff to scale up and meet the new demand. Without these loops processing information from the outside world, an organization is blind to its environment and incapable of surviving change. Every system faces a fundamental biological threat, entropy. Left to its own devices, any organization has a natural tendency to deteriorate into chaos and disorganization. The only way to fight entropy is by constantly injecting fresh energy, active communication, and human effort into the system to maintain its balance. As you prepare to graduate and enter the workforce, recognize that you will never operate in a vacuum. Whether you are sending a routine corporate email, treating a patient in a busy ward, or processing a supply order, your everyday tasks dictate the macro health of your environment. Your daily contributions serve as the essential dynamic input required to keep a massive living organism alive.